Welcome, everyone, to the Center for Work, Education, and Employment's 5th Annual Harvesting Opportunities Fundraising event. We really wish we could be in person today, of course, but nonetheless, we are so grateful that you made time to be with us this afternoon. We want to thank all Seaweed donors, volunteers, partners, and anyone who plays a role in supporting Seaweed participants. Your support is invaluable, and the funds raised from this event help to fuel Seaweed's work throughout the year, and we absolutely could not do this without you. We've got a wonderful program lined up for you, including national and Colorado workforce development experts who will share information on the latest labor market trends, how automation accelerated during the pandemic, and what we need to do as a community to ensure that low-income and vulnerable career seekers have opportunities to learn, work, and advance as the economy continues to change. The theme for today's event is opportunities in recovery. The past year and a half, I think we all know it's been extremely challenging, especially though for career seekers that CWE serves. But the silver lining of the pandemic is the opportunities in recovery that we're starting to see emerge. Things like moms who can find quality jobs working from home to balance work and family, which is just incredible. Career seekers who are fed up with unfulfilling work, they're leaving in droves to find something new, something that does fuel them. Resources are also coming into Colorado to reskill, upskill, and next skill these workers and career seekers hungry for new opportunities. Our speakers can't wait to share some of these opportunities with you today. I wanted to introduce myself. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Kylie Burse. I'm a meteorologist at Fox 31, and I am here today because this last year and a half working in news, I get about 6 hours a day of listening to what's happening in the world, and it's hard to hear, especially when you get to those unemployment numbers. I love the work that CWE does. When I learned about the incredible things that they do, especially for single-parent households, for those single moms, which I believe is right around 76% of the people that they serve are single parents. I'm also a huge mental health advocate, and knowing last year that 41% of adults reported depression and anxiety compared to 11% the year before, and that number is over half of adults for those experiencing job loss. So I love that the work that CWE does. I'm so proud to be here, so thank you for having me. So without further delay, let's get started. We've got a wonderful lineup of speakers, and first on the list is Emily, a CWE alumna who wants to share her experience at CWE.
Hi, my name is Emily and I'm a CWE alumni. When I first entered CWE, I was pretty skeptical of what I'd get out of it. But at the risk of sounding cheesy, by the time I finished the program completely, I felt accomplished, like I was ready to start not a job, but a career. The support I received helped me to build confidence, organization, and it helped me to understand my strongest strengths and my skills and what type of job I should apply for in order to best succeed. Now, I still have all of my job searching tools from CWE, my resume, my portfolio, and all of the support that I received from staff, which came in the form of a lot of notes about myself. Good stuff. Being at CWE made me feel like I wasn't alone job searching, and it can be pretty lonely. I still use those skills and the confidence that CWE taught me to look for a job, whereas before I would have been really overwhelmed. They taught me how to ask for help when I need it and showed me how capable I really am. CWE also taught me initiative in the workplace. I used to think that I didn't have a voice, but it helped me to understand that I do have a voice and I can present my ideas in a professional way that allows me to be heard and create.
A huge thank you to Emily for sharing your story. And I love that you said at the beginning, it might sound cheesy, but it didn't sound cheesy. All of that sounded incredible. And we're so grateful for you sharing your perseverance, your story. And we're going to hear a little bit more about this work from a few other speakers today. So next up, I am proud to introduce Susan Hill, Chair of CWE's Board of Directors. Susan has been on the Board of Directors since 2017 and has served as chair since 2018. She is an incredible champion of CWE's work countless ways. So Susan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Kylie, and welcome everyone. We are so happy that you're joining us today to celebrate the Center for Work, Education, and Employment and the transformational impact of CWE's programs on the lives of low-income career seekers and their families. For nearly 40 years, CWE has worked with vulnerable career seekers, most of them single parents, to help them gain skills, build confidence, and start their careers. CWE provides a path to long-term employment and stability for more than 900 families in our community each year. Connecting the dots between public investments, employers' needs, and career seekers is what CWE does best. And that work matters more than ever as the economy and the nature of work changes, influenced by automation, the pandemic, and other global and local forces. CWE trains to the skills that employers need most, and this responsive flexibility is what has enabled this organization to place more than 15,000 hardworking individuals in jobs since CWE's inception in 1982. CWE's work over nearly 4 decades has had an enormous positive impact on the lives of so many families, our community, and our local economy. And I am honored to be the chair of CWE's Board of Directors. Before we move on, I'd like to say a heartfelt thank you to our sponsors of Harvesting Opportunities 2021. These generous supporters of CWE include Arapahoe County Department of Human Services, Colorado Housing and Finance Authority, Kyle and Ethne Trike, Comcast, Lori Harvey, Obermeyer Wood Investment Council, Brown & Company, A&B Bank, Jennifer Briseño Realty, Julia Doria, Moody Insurance Agency, Sopra Communities, TG Inc., and ACI Learning. Thank you to all our sponsors. We so appreciate your support. And I'd also like to recognize today CWE's Silver Flame winners. For the past 35 years, CWE has awarded the Silver Flame recognition to our outstanding individual, employer, program, corporate partners, and distinguished alumni. In 2021, our Silver Flame winners include Volunteer of the Year, Catherine Keegan with the Office of the Future of Work, the Program Partner of the Year, PCs for People, Corporate Partner of the Year is Comcast, Employer Partner of the Year, CWE's Employer Advisory Council, and the Alumni of the Year is all of CWE's participants and alumni for their resilience during this unimaginable year. Finally, I would like to say a warm thank you to my fellow board members for your dedication and commitment to CWE, and thank you to the incredible team of CWE staff and volunteers who make this impactful work possible. CWE hasn't just survived during this difficult time, it has thrived, and that is thanks to the fabulous team of CWE staff with the strong and creative leadership of Katie Hamilton. Thank you all. And now I would like to introduce Jerry Lynn Francis, Director of Marketing and Communications at Colorado Housing and Finance Authority, a proud sponsor of this year's event. But first, here's a short clip about their work.
Good afternoon. I'm Jerry Lynn Francis with Colorado Housing and Finance Authority, also known as CHAFA. At CHAFA, we invest in affordable housing and community development throughout Colorado. We believe that everyone deserves the opportunity for housing stability and economic prosperity, and that's why we're so proud to sponsor Harvesting Opportunities. It's been our honor to support CWE, including sponsoring this event for several years. Thank you for all you do. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Amanda Cage, President and CEO of the National Fund for Workforce Solutions. Amanda has more than 25 years of experience in federal workforce systems, grant making, and organized labor. Throughout her career, Amanda has focused on ensuring economic inclusion and stability for workers and their families. The organization she leads, National Fund for Workforce Solutions, invests in a national network of partner communities that are pursuing demand-driven and evidence-based approaches to workforce development. With that, here's Amanda Cage.
First, I would like to say congratulations to CWE as it enters its 40th year. When I was learning about the organization and its history, it occurred to me that I had attended several events for organizations that were celebrating their 40th anniversaries. The grassroots anti-poverty organizations born out of the feminist movement have held strong, continuing to make change. Some things have changed since 1982, the year CWE was founded, but unfortunately, some things haven't. Since the founding of CWE, we have seen sweeping technological change. Who would have predicted that we would all have a computer in our pocket? The economy has globalized to the point that a ship stuck in the Suez Canal for 6 days produced shipping delays of everyday items for customers all over the world. As a country, we've also seen seismic demographic shifts. In 1980, 1/5 of the population were people of color. Today, it's double. People of color represent half of the population of people under 25. But some things haven't changed. The black-white economic divide is as wide as it was in 1968. Gender pay inequities still deeply entrenched. In 2018, before the pandemic, white women made 79 cents for every dollar earned by a white man. Black women earned 62 of American women 57 cents, and Latinas 54 cents. I give this context because it matters. It matters for what happened right before COVID, for what happened during COVID, and for what is happening now. We walked into this pandemic with an economy built on a rocky foundation of low wages and low quality jobs. Even in an incredibly tight labor market, workers weren't doing great. Let me read you some statistics from January 2020, right before COVID. According to Just Capital, over 70% of the jobs in many areas paid less than $51,000 a year with no benefits like paid sick leave. A PwC survey showed that 59% of workers said that personal finances were their greatest source of stress. And a Federal Reserve study revealed that 40% of Americans could not come up with $400 to handle an emergency expense. And then COVID hit, and we saw a complete bifurcation of the labor market experience. People of color and women were hit hardest due to occupational segregation. They were overrepresented in industries hardest hit and lacked the supports when the bottom fell out. Essential workers, people that we rely on to care for our children, stock shelves at grocery stores, clean buildings we frequent, transport us to work, take care of our health, and provide us with community services, worked in perilous conditions, made even more so because of COVID. Of course, women took care of the kids, but closed childcare and remote school wreaked havoc on their work lives. Women labor force participation hit a 33-year low in January of this year. And we learned overnight that tens of millions of Americans lack access to affordable, high-speed internet services. The digital divide wasn't a line, it was a gulf. So here we are, and as COVID cases continue, we are reminded that not everyone will experience the recovery in the same way. News headlines focus on people returning to work, but we need to focus on what they need to succeed in those jobs. What can we do to build a more equitable recovery? I offer 4 areas of focus. First, let's use this opportunity to erase the digital divide. Even before the pandemic, it was apparent that American jobs were undergoing a massive technological transformation. In-demand careers increasingly require digital literacy skills, including essential frontline occupations. Indeed, for many occupations, digital skills are now expected for new hires and incumbent workers alike. Since the pandemic began, digital demands in the U.S. workplaces have only accelerated, with workers from frontline jobs to white-collar roles being asked to quickly adapt to new tools and technologies. Digital skills must be paramount in every workforce development program. Second, we must examine what kinds of jobs are coming back. Are they good jobs? Job quality encompasses lots of elements, not just wages. Is there sustainable pay and benefits? Stable hours and predictable work schedules? Are the jobs safe? Do they offer job security? Do they offer workers opportunity for career development? Are there educational benefits? Do workers have a voice? These are the questions we need to be asking. Third, we must address the trauma. The coronavirus pandemic, racial violence, and climate-related disasters made the year stressful and traumatic for everyone. The stress and trauma shows up at work. CWE has been a pioneer of trauma-informed practices, including having a licensed clinician on staff. We at the National Fund produced a guide, a trauma-informed approach to workforce, that provides an introduction to trauma and its effects for workers. Employers and workforce development organizations can use this guide to learn about strategies and practices to advance trauma-informed approaches in the workplace. Trauma-informed care is a new practice area for workforce development, but we know addressing trauma is directly connected to creating equitable and inclusive workplaces. Finally, we've got to deal with all the other stuff. What we at the National Fund call the social determinants of work. People can't work if they have unsafe housing that is far from centers of employment or unaffordable or inaccessible child or elder care. Workers can't rely on inefficient transportation systems that don't connect them to their home, to childcare, to work, and back. We can't help people connect to jobs if they're locked out because an employer insists on unnecessary background checks or artificial degree requirements. These conditions need to change for workers to thrive. I know that these are issues that you are grappling with in Colorado, just as others are challenged all around the country. I look forward to hearing from Joe about how we can find opportunity in this recovery from the pandemic. Thank you for allowing me to be part of the conversation.
Good afternoon, and thanks for inviting me to speak with you today. As the Executive Director of the Colorado Department of Labor and Employment and a CWE board member, I'm honored to join you and share a few thoughts about how we can find opportunity in recovery from the pandemic. We know the economic impacts of COVID-19 hurt our low-wage workers, people of color, and women very hard. While I'm proud to report that as of July, we are at a 6.1% unemployment rate in Colorado, rates of employment for low-wage workers are still at about negative 24% compared to January of 2020. There is much work to do to ensure that every Coloradan worker can reskill, upskill, and next skill to find a good career in our state as we recover from COVID-19 and prepare for the future of work. To create a Colorado that works for all, CDLE and its partners like CWE deliver critical services to thousands of Coloradans and work together to implement the following key strategies. A skills-based hiring economy. By educating employers on skills-based hiring practices and providing support to experienced workers on how to market themselves through a skills-based lens, we not only connect employers to the skilled talent they need, we also help Coloradans find rewarding work. By focusing on the individual skills earned through the entirety of their life experiences, we can chart new paths forward to careers they never considered. Work-based learning and apprenticeships. We can no longer separate learning from earning. We need more pathways that combine the two so people can remain competitive as the future of work evolves. Apprenticeships provide workers with opportunities to reskill in trades, high-tech, healthcare, and hundreds of other industries. Apprenticeships connect workers to mentors and give participants the opportunity to learn in-demand skills while also earning a paycheck. CDLE partners to implement a high-quality apprenticeship system with more than 6,000 apprentices and more than 400 registered apprenticeship programs. Earn and learn models create more access to education and build a culture of lifetime learning in Colorado. Digital literacy and inclusion. As the future of work evolves, all workers will need to be able to use, work alongside, and learn new technologies in the workplace. There are huge gaps in access to affordable high-speed internet, devices, and often we lack opportunities to build these critical skills. CDLE is working with the Broadband Office to ensure all Coloradans have the skills they need to be tech-enabled for work, learning, and daily life. Community-based organizations like CWE have stepped up to bridge the digital divide and make sure that communities has the technology and skills they need to achieve their goals. Career coaching. Frontline career development professionals are the backbone of Colorado's workforce and education system. CDLE believes in career coaches and invests in their professional development so they can connect unemployed and underemployed workers to opportunities. In Colorado, we know that with strategic career navigation, job seekers using the workforce system earn about $12,700 more in annualized wages than those who find work on their own. CWE's people-centered approach creates connections and outcomes that serve their participants long after they complete the program. These strategies are the foundation of the workforce system that creates future-ready Coloradans. Organizations like CWE are a critical piece of our ecosystem. Community-based organizations are uniquely positioned to serve populations that were left behind by our pre-COVID economy, so that as we emerge from the pandemic, no matter what door individuals walk into, they can find economic prosperity, and Colorado can build back better. With that, it's now my pleasure to introduce Katie Hamilton, CEO of the Center for Work Education and Employment, and a tremendous and nationally recognized workforce leader.
Thank you, Joe. It's wonderful to have everyone here today. We appreciate you all taking this time to learn more about CWE, including our role in the economic recovery. Before you go, Joe, I'd love to ask you a couple of follow-up questions.
Sure.
First question, can you talk about skills-based hiring practices that you alluded to in your remarks, and how our work at CWE is demonstrating the benefits for both workers and employers?
Sure. Great question. You know, skills-based hiring practice relies on both the supply and demand side to be aware of the skills and competencies that they obtain, but also as an employer that you need in a job. These skill requirements are used to screen candidates in lieu of traditional methods that rely on a candidate's background or degree as a proxy for skills actually needed to do the job. Traditional hiring practices disproportionately overlook talent who have the skills to do the job, including people of color, women, individuals with disabilities, people with previous involvement with the criminal justice system, individuals who had to pause their careers to care for family members, and the nearly 43% of Coloradans without a college degree. Skills-based hiring reduces turnover by improving the likelihood of hiring candidates with the right skills for open positions, increasing diversity, reduces bias in the interview and selection process, and allows employers to fill open positions more quickly by improving efficiency in the hiring process. CWE's work allows individuals to understand the skills they have, build new skills, and communicate their skill sets to employers. The process can create new talent pools for employers in Colorado and can help connect people, often overlooked, with a new opportunity.
This really resonates. As a mid-size employer, CWE implemented skills-based hiring across our organization in 2018. You could say we were early adopters. We are now reaping the benefits, including the ability to recruit and hire a more diverse workforce. My second question, as resources come into our state to support workforce development over the next few years, how can government and community-based organizations like CWE step up our partnerships in support of low-wage workers?
Another great question. Partnerships now more than ever are going to be critical to how we meet the demand of the worker shortages that will be around for many years, not only as a result of the pandemic, but as a result of skills needed to move us into the future of work. Luckily, through the Colorado Recovery Plan, funding is available to support job seekers, workers, and students in getting the training needed for in-demand jobs and careers. A variety of programs combine financial support with additional services such as career planning and coaching, connections to careers, and connections to community and public resources, such as transportation assistance, legal aid services, and many others. Colorado state agencies are partnering on the Ready to Rise campaign with the goal of raising awareness of stimulus opportunities and helping individuals connect with them to expand their skills and secure jobs. We need to realize that the public workforce system can do a lot, but we're much bigger and better, we're bolder when we have our community-based organizations at our side, serving people who happen to walk into their door. Community-based organizations like CWE are key parts in getting the message out to have the opportunity to apply for stimulus funding directly through House Bill 1264. Partnerships between community-based organizations, education providers, and workforce boards can extend the reach of these funds and connect people who otherwise may be unaware of these resources to important services.
Thanks again, Joe. What an important time to be part of the workforce ecosystem. We are so fortunate to benefit from your leadership here in Colorado and as part of the CWE Board of Directors. To kick off, I'd like to share a little bit about the inspiring individuals we serve. 90% are women, 76% are single parents, close to 50% have reported recently living in unstable housing or are homeless. 45% have less than a high school education, and 100% are living in poverty. More important than the numbers, however, is the sheer fortitude and resilience on display every day at CWE. The individuals we are so fortunate to support inspire us all to work harder with intention to address broken systems and correct long-standing economic divides. For nearly 40 years, CWE has served low-income career seekers. We have honed our practice and deliver employment coaching that is trauma-informed, driven by brain science and motivational coaching, and has proven to help participants overcome barriers and launch rewarding careers. The families CWE serves were hard hit by the pandemic and were the least prepared for the accelerated transition of the professional and educational world online. By April 2020, it was clear the digital divide was seriously hindering our participants' progress. Helping to bridge the crippling divide for our career seekers was the first opportunity we seized. When the pandemic struck, many of our participants had only their smartphones and limited data plans to access the internet at home. We mobilized a massive effort to ensure our participants received a laptop for at-home use, as well as a connection to high-speed, reliable, and affordable monthly internet service. We created a rapid response technology fund, partnered with PCs for People and Comcast, mobilized our supporters, and ultimately supplied 344 participants with their own reliable computers. Overnight, our team transitioned to online employment coaching and began work to develop CWE Basics, our digital literacy training program that leads to industry-recognized credentials. We saw this forced innovation as a net positive, work that would ultimately benefit CWE participants beyond the pandemic. Indeed, automation has accelerated these past 18 months. Jobs continue to evolve along with the employer expectations. According to the Talent Pipeline report, 80% of jobs in Colorado now require digital skills. As we emerge from the crisis amid an ever-changing landscape, CWE continues to seek out and capitalize on opportunities in recovery. Today, we are working hard to connect our career seekers to quality employment. Job openings are at a record high nationwide. At the same time, we're seeing an increasing trend of employees voluntarily leaving their jobs. In fact, the Great Resignation, as it's been coined, seems to be one of the many lasting consequences of the COVID-19 crisis on the workplace. The underlying reasons aren't hard to understand. The last 18 months have given us all an opportunity to reevaluate our values and our careers, and importantly, the way we spend our time at work. The concept of quality employment, which CWE has long advocated for, is finally coming to the forefront. Quality employment for our career seekers not only means a livable wage, it means hours that are family-friendly, benefits including paid time off, and opportunities to both learn and advance on the job. CWE is fortunate to work with a network of over 100 regional employers who signed on to CWE's Quality Employment Framework as a pledge to support the career advancement of low-income Coloradans. These employers depend on CWE and other nonprofits to ensure workers are equipped with the skills they need to be successful. This is the role of a last-mile organization. We work with people one-on-one, coaching, mentoring, guiding, and connecting career seekers towards the goal of quality, sustainable employment. Last-mile organizations like CWE offer personalized support and foundational skills training such as communication, teamwork, and digital literacy. The work of last-mile organizations is critical to helping employers address the hiring crisis and to lifting countless families out of poverty. As you've heard today, we do this work in broad partnership, and the role of employers cannot be overstated. In fact, we need more employers to commit to providing quality jobs and a pathway for workers at the very bottom rung to advance in their careers and learn on the job. As Joe shared, the investments that are coming into Colorado through the recovery plan have the power to be transformative. The next crucial step to make the labor market more inclusive in this country is for employers to help create opportunities for workers at the lowest rung. Opportunities in recovery include additional commitments to and investments in career exploration, learning on the job, and a chance to move up and advance in a defined career path. We see large employers setting goals to hire more women and diverse workers. And these are noble goals. However, absent strong partnerships with last-mile organizations like CWE and clearly defined career pathway opportunities for entry-level workers, they will be very difficult to achieve. My call to employers here with us today and across Colorado is to partner with CWE and other last-mile organizations to create opportunities in recovery for Colorado's low-income workers. CWE's door is open to you, and we welcome the chance to connect and to address how your hiring goals and our family's sustainability goals can intersect. I want to close by saying how incredibly proud I am of this organization and how we have navigated the pandemic to the point of emerging more resilient, more innovative, and ready to capitalize and create opportunities in recovery. I also want to extend my deepest thanks to CWE supporters, our funders, our volunteers, and partners. You have stepped up in game-changing ways. This community is full of leaders dedicated to creating a more inclusive economy. CWE continues to step beyond our four walls to bring what we know about vulnerable career seekers to inform and accelerate the recovery. We see firsthand that by designing solutions for those that are hardest to serve, everyone benefits. Finally, I would like to recognize the CWE team. Despite the challenges that we have all faced during the pandemic, this team kept showing up, tackling the big challenges by seeking to answer one common question: how can we best support career seekers and their families? I am so honored to lead this group of incredible professionals who go outside of themselves day after day after day to help others. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, and thank you for joining.
And Katie. And Katie, thank you for sharing, for all of the incredible work that you've done over the past year and a half as well. Now it's time to briefly meet another hardworking career alumna that CWE served. Please welcome Alicia.
My name is Alicia, and I am a CWE graduate. Before I started CWE, I was attending Arapahoe Community College. My children and I started to experience hardships, and because of that, I started failing my classes. I knew then that it wasn't the right time for me to continue my education. I reached out to CWE and started their program. When I first started CWE, I was going through a lot in my life. I wasn't sure if it was the right fit for me, but I stuck with it. After a few weeks of attending CWE, I started to open my mind, get to know myself, and set foundations for me to move forward. The best part of CWE is the support and guidance they provide for all of their participants, and knowing that I can always reach out to them for additional support, such as upskilling, help with my resume, and support with continued growth. CWE connected me with internships, including one with the state of Colorado. At first, I wasn't too happy about it, but my CWE case manager worked with me and made sure that I had the proper supports in place, such as reliable childcare and transportation, so that I could get the best out of my internship experience. A couple weeks into my internship, they created a position for me, and I was hired. I started working for the state of Colorado in 2019 as an administrative assistant. Since then, I have had 5 promotions, one of which just happened last week as a data analyst. CWE offers a great opportunity. If you are really ready to move forward in your life and career, take advantage of this opportunity. Go for it. CWE will help you get to where you want to go. I appreciate that I can always go back to CWE. Years might go by without me needing their help, but I know I can always reach out, and CWE will always be there for me.
Well, congratulations, Alicia. That is so great to hear about your latest promotion just last week. That's amazing. And thank you for sharing your story and for demonstrating how effective career coaching, holistic support, and work-based learning can propel your career forward. And thank you to all of you for being here today. Before we wrap up, I have an important request to make. CWE depends on support from the community, including individuals like us, to fund the programs that have a transformative impact on the lives of low-income families. I ask you today to make a gift to support this essential work of getting vulnerable career seekers through that last mile and into quality employment that allows them to be fulfilled and economically secure. As you heard from Emily and Alicia, CWE's program creates lasting change for career seekers, for their families, and for our entire community. It's so, so important. So please make a donation of support to CWE's work by visiting cwee.org or texting WORK to 833-795-2176 as shown on the screen. So you got all the information that you need. You can also scan that QR code, make it even easier for you. And listen to this. I think this is just amazing how far CWE can make your money go. $50 provides up to 5 months of internet service for a family. That's life-changing right there. $100 provides 24/7 access to a typing certification for 33 career seekers. $250 provides more than 20 families with basic needs like diapers, wipes, formula, hygiene products, things that are so incredibly important. $500 allows participants to complete all GED tests to receive their high school equivalency degree. $1,000, this one blows my mind, provides 2 vehicles for families through our Wheels to Work program. Just $1,000, they can make it stretch that far. $2,500 provides 10 laptops for 10 CWE families to be able to participate in the virtual program. And then that laptop, that's theirs to keep forever. That's amazing. $5,000 provides career readiness training for one participant, including resume preparation, mock interviewing, and then employment coaching as well. $10,000 provides comprehensive skills training, personal development, family support, employment preparation, and post-employment retention support for an entire year. So they take your dollar and they stretch it so far and make such a huge impact in our community. Your support of CWE's program, it's invaluable whether you're a partner, a donor, a volunteer, or you're a CWE champion. We thank you for your work and thank you for being here with us today. We hope you enjoyed the program and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your afternoon.